Hello. Welcome to day one of your holiday eating survival series. This video is going to be a little bit different than the rest of the series. So I'm going to talk to you about what to expect in your series. And in this video, I'm going to cover just getting you set up for Thanksgiving. And if it's not Thanksgiving before you're watching this, getting you set up for navigating maybe larger meals, meals with others, holiday meals, all of those things without losing control with food and while still feeling in your power. So before we go there, I want you to know that this day one is just a video of me here with you face to face, talking you through this. The next 5 parts of the Holiday Eating Survival series are entire calls dedicated to trainings to support you, plus videos on top of the calls to really guide you through and answer any questions you could possibly have about each of the trainings. So we have so many things in store for you. How to eat with ease and confidence at holiday gatherings, even if they look a little different this year. How to navigate difficult conversations or maybe body shaming or triggering combos about food at the dinner table, managing emotions and the ups and downs, whether it's loneliness or excited, without going to food to cope, and so much more. Even how to navigate those moments of overeating, because they're probably going to happen over the holidays, and we don't want those moments to extend into all out binges. And so there's a lot of amazing things in store for you in this holiday series. So if for some reason you are watching this out on the interwebs and you haven't signed up, be sure to click the link someplace around this page to get access to the full holiday series. So before we go into the series, I want to talk about just kind of the mindset with the holidays that I see for many people that struggle with binge and emotional eating. And just, before we even go there, I want to let you know, I know how it feels. I struggled for 12 plus years with binge and emotional eating. Nearly every holiday gathering was an all out binge. And then I'd be sneaking in the kitchen, binging on more. I would gain a ton of weight on the holidays. I would be so self-conscious of seeing others. I would be really hard on myself. I'd be kind of walking around the world with a food hangover from the binging or overeating. My emotions were up and down, and no matter how much joy the holidays brought, there was this other dark side of it that was really difficult because of my struggle with food. And, same thing with our clients. We've helped over 3,000 women put a stop to binge and emotional eating. And I see, before they come work with us, I see this kind of all or nothing relationship with the holidays and this fear and the difficulties that come up. And I want to make sure you're supported through that. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is a mindset that is a very common mindset in the holidays. And that is all or nothing eating. We're going to talk about this more in the series, but it's the idea that, hey, I never get this food. I better eat it all now because I'm starting over tomorrow. And what that, I better eat it all now thing does, it makes the food seem really scarce. And when food seems scarce and you gotta get it in today or it's off limits forever, then of course you're going to eat a lot, right? Then what I see happen to people is once that happens, it's like, oh, I did that yesterday. Let me just do it again today or whatever. I just did this yesterday. I'm just going to have the cookies today, or I'm going to have the leftovers and more leftovers and more leftovers. And it gets into this snowball effect that before you know it, instead of a day or two or a meal here and there, it turned into this whole out of control overeating thing for a month and a half. And that's where things get really, really difficult. So the first thing I invite you to do is challenge this all or nothing overeating relationship you have with the holidays. Remind yourself that food is abundant. You could have mac and cheese next week. You could have mashed potatoes next week. You could have pie next week. You could bake a Christmas cookie out of nowhere if you really desire it. It's not the only time of the year where this food can ever happen. It just happens to be a time of the year where there is a lot more of this food around, and that's okay. So I highly encourage you also to let yourself enjoy some food, and don't put that scarce feeling on it like it's this limited resource you can never have, and that allows you to have an easier relationship with it where you can enjoy it. There's probably not going to be this stuff on the Thanksgiving table or the Christmas table or the Hanukkah table or whatever it is that you celebrate, right? That stuff's probably not going to be there every single day, and there's nothing wrong with you letting yourself enjoy it, letting yourself enjoy it guilt-free. And the next part of our holiday series talks about this in detail and how to really break out of that all or nothing cycle and really release the guilt around eating, because you're allowed to enjoy some food. You're allowed to have a piece of pie or 2 or 3. If it's, you're allowed to enjoy things if that feels like what's most supportive for your body, yourself, your mental and emotional world. And that moves me into how to make decisions for yourself in these environments. So what I think is really important when you're making these decisions, when we come from diet land, we make decisions very based on, is this good for my body or is this bad for my body? Is this fattening or is it not fattening? Is this sugar okay or is it not okay? Oh, it's not okay, but I'm letting myself eat it. Oh, I feel really guilty. Okay, I blew it. I better just eat it and keep eating. And that creates this binge-like relationship. But if we step back and we make a very present moment choice, not a choice that's based around, oh, I ate this morning, so I better eat this later. Or, oh, I binged at Thanksgiving at lunch, so I better, have everything I can tonight because I already blew it. A way of making choices that I really want you to bring into the holidays is present moment decisions, where you're not just checking, hey, is this good or bad for me, right? But is this supportive to my whole well-being? Enjoying some pie with a family might be supportive to you mentally and emotionally. And maybe it doesn't check the box of physically supportive in the sense of caloric and sugar content, right? But also enjoying Thanksgiving, enjoying a meal with those that you love might really be supportive for you in these other ways. So really checking in and taking some deep breaths before your meals and checking in and saying, like, removing the diet talk, removing the guilt and shame, removing the food labeling, removing the all or nothing. What decision, as I'm walking up to the table and got all the food there to decide from, what decision is going to be the most supportive for me mentally, emotionally, the experience I want to have, and physically? How do I want to feel? How do I want to feel the rest of the day with my family and friends? How do I want to feel the rest of the day as I go out into the world? How do I want to wake up feeling tomorrow? And finding kind of the balance between all of these things. It doesn't just have to be, this food's bad for me, I never let myself have it, so I'm going to eat a ton of it, be hungover from it the next day, and be on this snowball thing. That is only deciding with this all or nothing nature, or this, is this good or bad for me nature, versus what's the experience I want to have? What's the energy I want to have? How's this going to impact me? How do I want to feel? What is the moment that I want to have with my loved ones? How can food support this? And having it as this holistic present decision. Eat your meal and move on. Check in with your body and see how you're feeling. Check in with your body later in the meal and see how you're feeling. As you're getting a little more satisfied, check in and see if you need more. And ask yourself, hey, knowing I can have this later, knowing I can wake up and have leftovers tomorrow, knowing that this isn't a limited resource, what do I desire for myself right now? How do I want to feel? Do I want a little more? Do I want to check in with my body in a few hours and see if I want more then? And once you're complete, move on. Move on without guilt or shame. And here's the thing, when you have a desire for food a few hours later, you go through the questions again. You don't say, oh man, I blew it on Thanksgiving dinner, I'm just gonna keep going. Oh man, I already blew it yesterday, I'm just gonna keep going. Or, ooh, I ate really bad yesterday, so I'm gonna restrict and diet and kill myself in the gym today to make up for it. Because that roller coaster, that all or nothing creates more binging. And there's the in the moment decisions that actually make things easier long term. When we're dieting, we make the controlled, restricted in the moment decision, or the overeating cheat day in the moment decision, right? And we don't think, hey, how is this going to affect my consistency with being binge free, being emotional eating free, being overeating free the next few days, right? That all or nothing pattern creates more binging, creates more cravings, creates more thinking about food. That waking up and punishing yourself for what you ate yesterday creates more cravings, creates more binging, creates more thinking about food. It actually might feel relieving in the short term, but it doesn't support you in the long term, right? So I want you to go into making these mealtime decisions with two big things that you're thinking about. You're thinking about the present moment, not from a heady, this is good, this is bad, I'm off track, I'm on track place. You're thinking about the present moment based on how you want to feel, the experience you want to have, and what's going to support you in feeling that way. It's gonna look like pie sometimes, it's gonna look like salad sometimes, it's gonna look like both a lot of the times. You get to really connect with what supports you, especially through the holidays. It's gonna look a little different, and give yourself permission to do that. During your meals, I want you to check in with yourself, see how you're feeling, remind yourself, hey, I don't have to finish this, I can have more later. Hey, I get to finish this if I desire it. But make sure it's a decision coming from the real you, a connected decision versus a disconnected autopilot, overeating, patterned, all or nothing type decision, bingey type decision, right? A decision that's coming from the real you, right? So you're making present, connected decisions, and you're also considering when you have the urge to restrict, when you have the urge to, oh, I'm on a cheat day, let me just go for it. When you have those urges, really step back and think, hey, is this coming from fear? Is this coming from this old diet way of thinking? Or is this coming from what I really know is supportive for me long-term? Because if you're a student of ours, or if you're in our community, you know if you wake up that day after binging and think about restricting, and think about punishing yourself in the gym, or think about holding back, or if you wake up the next day and you think about going for it because you went for it yesterday, both of those things lead to feeling worse. The restriction leads to thinking about food, more cravings, more compulsive nature, all of the things. The going for it leads to that snowball binge that can last the whole holiday season, and we don't want that, right? We want you to make the decision that's going to support you both in the moment in a connected way, like we mentioned, but also long term. So even though restricting the day after a binge feels like it's going to be really relieving, it actually can create more binging, so that doesn't support you long term. So I want you to go into this holiday season practicing present moment connected decisions, connected to how do you want to feel as you walk through the world, and maybe as you're on your Zoom call, if you're socially distancing from your family or your friends, how do you want to feel as you are experiencing life in the holidays and in 2021, and what's going to support you in feeling that. And I can't sit here and tell you what to eat and what not to eat, because this is going to look different for everyone, but I can guess that restrictive dieting control is unsupportive. I'm not going to guess that. I know that. I also know that riding this all or nothing cheat day restrict wave, very unsupportive. And I know that the snowball binging that lasts all holiday season, very unsupportive. I know that not letting yourself have any holiday treats, very unsupportive. I know that the F it, I'm going to eat all the holiday treats this month and start over January 1st, very unsupportive. So we need to find a nice place in the middle and just navigate that place in the middle that really works with you and what you desire and how you want to feel and the experience you want to have. And maybe let go. Hey, maybe now's not the time to focus on weight loss. Maybe now's the time to focus on just giving yourself what you need. This year has been hard, right? And you deserve to give yourself what you need. And if that's a workout, great. If that's a piece of pumpkin pie, great. But make sure it's made from a very connected place that honors you and also how you want to feel. Because nonstop pumpkin pie is not going to make you feel good. Nonstop workout like a wild person in the gym, not going to make you feel good. So encouraging you to make those connected decisions. And, as you go into these situations, a lot of that overeating or that all or nothing or that relationship with food where you feel like you gotta have it all because it's there, that's a pattern. That's a patterned habitual way of relating to food that's been very ingrained in you and most everyone in our society, right? So the more connected you are to yourself, the less connected you are to your patterns. So what are some things you can do to connect you to yourself and connect you to your power going into these situations? Because the more you're connected to who you are, the more grounded you can make those decisions. So, one thing to do is not skimp breakfast. Like, eat a nourishing meal, even if you're having a bigger one later, so you go into the situation grounded. Do your morning routine or go for a walk or listen to an empowering song. Or, if you're one of our students, use that connected list that we made that were to pull from those exercises that really put you in your power and connect you to who you are. And have those resources available for when you feel those old patterns coming on, you can break them. Might even be a great little exercise to do to kind of jot down what those old patterns feel like. Like, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing when you go into that autopilot overeating? And that way you get to really know that habitual part that takes over sometimes so you can see it from a mile away. And then start stacking and practicing these different things that connect you to yourself and keep you in your power and keep you out of pattern. And the more proactively you do those, the easier they are to pull from in those moments where that, overeating pattern kicks off. So you have the awareness around the overeating pattern, and you start building this repetition with this connecting back to yourself. And then in those moments where it gets hard, it's a lot easier to connect back to you, to break that pattern and connect back to you. So this is just kind of a warm up into our series. If you haven't signed up yet, make sure you click the link someplace around this video to get access to the next 5 parts. The next 5 parts are, a part of, they're actually delivered as a course. They're full hour to an hour and a half, I believe, audio calls that dig deep into all these different topics. I answer Q&A at the end of the calls. Then I do an entire video answering common questions about those calls, covering literally any difficult thing you could have with the holidays. So whether you're signed up and you're just watching this to jump into the series, or you haven't signed up yet, thank you for watching this. I am so excited to be here with you. I love this holiday series. We're always adding goodies to it. We point our students back to this holiday series over and over again if they need help, because even if it's not the holidays, it supports you with all things eating, food, body, having to do with mixing and interacting with others, even if it's a little socially distanced this year. So once again, super excited to be here with you. My honor to lead you through this and support you through the holidays. Make sure you are ready for an incredible holiday eating survival series / mini course, and I will see you in the next training.